is set up to verify that. And you'll see as you go through to fill out the application form, we're having you sign a little affidavit saying, yes, you believe that the crop you're going to plant will produce 0.3 THC, and then we will come and verify that during the growing season. We will be in contact with you, those that are chosen to be sampled this summer. We will be in tremendous contact with you because we all have a big learning curve. I'm ready to admit it, and I hope you would all admit it too. We all have a big learning curve ahead of us. The seed and obtaining seed is somewhat problematic. As most of you understand, the crop is still considered illegal on the federal level because the federal government does not decipher between marijuana and hemp. And so on the federal level, there's still some risk, and those pieces of risk are outlined on our website, which is www.colorado.gov/AG. And you can read about the risks if you are not already informed. We advise you to do your due diligence. But if you plant this crop, we're not going to ask you how you got seed. We're not going to ask you where you got the plants. If you plant it, we will regulate you. Okay, so there we go. It would be wise, I think, in the beginning to start small. Because the consequences, this is just something that you need to understand, basically due diligence. The consequences are that the seed that you may obtain, the plants that you may obtain, you may or may not know the quality. And what I mean by quality in terms of seed is that you may not know what the THC content of that plant will be when it germinates. And so if you are not sure about that and then we come in and test it and it's over the 0.3, then it's no longer considered industrial hemp in the eyes of the state as well as anyone else. And so you will need to work with us very closely. You will not be allowed to sell that crop if the test comes back at above 0.3. So just as long as you understand the program and how it's going to work and the restrictions that you are under, the risks that are potentially out there, as long as you understand all that, the potential is very great, and I think the excitement is well deserved. So we will have a very exciting summer ahead of us. So I will be happy to answer questions. I do have application forms. I do have the copies of the law, so that if you're interested in registering for this program, you should take the laws and read through those as best you can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura. We appreciate all your efforts and your brave position at your job that you're taking. The next speaker is Ben Holmes with Centennial Seed. He is our hemp scientist, and he's also working currently on the CU Genome Cannabis mapping project. So I will let you take over there from Ben, or for Ben.
My name is Ben Holmes. I'm the founder of Centennial Seed. We're based in Lafayette, Colorado. We're one of the first seed labels in the state to work exclusively with the cannabis genus. I started in drug and resin types, medicinal types, and as I've added seed stocks, seed sample of industrial lines, we begin to work with those. I'm here to talk about two things that I can address that I can share with you. One is sort of the rough state of affairs with regard to seed supply in the state, and which Laura touched on, but I can drill down a little farther on that. And then the Cannabis Genomic Research Initiative at CU, which is a research project being run out of the Kane Laboratory in Ramley Hall. So with regard to seed, what Laura said is true. Most of the seed coming in, we have no idea what the end result would be in terms of the cannabinoid content, or if it will meet the statute as a mature crop. So we're really in trial period, all of us. And that seed may do really well up in Canada or Finland or somewhere in higher latitudes where the sun coming in has less energy because of the tilt of the earth. Here in Colorado, we have this exceptionally strong sun fraction that people don't take into consideration when we talk about this. But what I've learned is that that sun can pound this plant and drive it to produce more and more resin, which is sort of a reaction to UV light, and put you over your limit. So the trick really, I think, is maybe to align yourself with, if you have seed samples that you want to go forward with and you want to register and grow, is align yourself with a laboratory and maybe take tests in the interim as you progress through the crop. It doesn't have to be an expensive analysis. Maybe just pick a real sport-looking plant that seems to have a lot of flowering mass, hack it down, dry it up, and find yourself a lab that will give you testing. And that gives you some sort of an insurance, a buffer zone really, against the possibility that you are, one, selected to be tested, and two, that you test hot. So that's just some advice I would offer on that topic. With regard to the seed that's coming into the state, a lot of people are importing seed that has a very low viability, and the seed is actually not seed for planting, it's grain for grinding into food or extracting oil or protein from. It's mixed grain lots, so it could be many different varieties shoved into a silo and then poured into bags and shipped out. You get small bits of this, and it's really impossible without a seed label, without a certificate, to know what that seed lot is, if it's consistent, if it's planting seed, or if it's just grain. So you're kind of taking a chance on that. It's, as far as I can tell, I'm in the seed business, so I sort of have some skin in this game. I have an interest. I get a lot of calls from people in the state who are trying to buy seeds out of resin types or industrial hemp types, who have made the effort of sending away for seed, send money off to Europe, to the UK or Spain or Canada, and trying to buy seed and bring it back into the US. As our situation is changing on the ground, it seems that the customs people have adjusted their attitude towards it, and the compliance seems to be much heavier. So people are getting their seeds. It's a very expensive process to send money away. You're breaking the law that really doesn't put you at much risk of being prosecuted, but it's a financial risk. You lose your seeds and your money and you have no recourse. So I would advise against that, and just be patient. There are people in the state, we're working on it. There are some people in different parts of Fort Collins and Boulder that are working on developing seed supplies, but at this point it's really a guess as to what you're buying if you're bringing in seeds from outside. So having said that, I've been working with a laboratory at CU, the Kane Laboratory. It's run by Dr. Nolan Kane. He's a professor there of genomics and informatics, and his expertise is in mapping the genomes of plants. He's worked successfully to map the genomes of chocolate, of canola, which is an enormous crop, including cabbage and broccoli and canola for seed oil. And it worked on sunflower. And it created probably the deepest genomic map, the most detailed genomic resource on any crop was created by this fellow's lab. So he's definitely the guy to do it. The laws allow for this work in our state, and we're working around the delicate balance of working with CU, with this crop, and with this plant by basically shifting all the wet work off onto my facility. We grow the plants to a certain age. We have chemotypes down the testing to determine the cannabinoid ratios, and then a team of people come from CU, extract the DNA on equipment that we've had to procure, and then take the DNA back to CU in a pure form and begin to analyze it. They sequence the plants, they create a digital file, and they begin to align these fragmented digital strands of information into a confluent genome. It's landmark work. It's absolutely epic in its implications for the crop, and it's being done here in Colorado, and that just absolutely amazes me. So where we stand with that is we've put the first couple of seed batches down. We're growing two very disparate types. One is an industrial hemp type that is incredibly tall and thin and bears almost no resin, and then the other parent would be a short Afghani drug type, resin type. And when we cross those two, we should have a scattering of traits that come out in the offspring. We'll be able to determine from that which of the parents gave them height or which one gave them THC or resin content. And that's sort of a coarse, simplified way of explaining it, but it'll take about 18 months, and when we're done, hopefully we have something that's usable right away to be able to start analyzing plants at very young ages for their genetic makeup. And that's really all I have to talk about, but thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Ben. We appreciate all your work that you're doing for hemp and cannabis itself. Ben mentioned about working with the lab, which is a great idea for this first year of research and development plots or otherwise trying to figure out what your plants are testing at. And inside your gift bags there is a company, local company, Sativa Lab, that has put in some information to start working with hemp farmers to figure that whole part of it out. So our next speaker is Summer Star. She's with Enviro Textiles in Glenwood Springs. Her mom was supposed to be here today to bar Filippone, but she was stuck on Bell Pass, so was unable to make it, but I know that Summer can handle it. So, Summer Star.
Thank you, Boulder. Today is a victory. It happened! Finally happened. It's funny, a lot of people say to me, gosh, it's happening so fast. And I'm like, well, we've been working on this a long time. I'm Summer Star. I'm the co-founder and COO of Enviro Textiles, which is headquarters in Glenwood Springs. We also have a Mexico location as well as a Qingdao, China location. To give a little bit of our history, I'm a Colorado native, Palisade, fruit land, best peaches in the state, actually probably in the country. It's something that we've been really pushing for a long time, and I have to acknowledge Doss that's here with us today. We have ice cream. Doss was one of my first heroes, and when I was 9 years old, I was sitting in Colorado State Senate hearings for industrial hemp. It was the first legislation after the prohibition, the Senator Casey bills, and that's when I had the pleasure to meet Doss and look up to him for over 20 years now. We've been kind of pushing and saying the same thing, and Colorado had one of the nation's first hemp shops up in Glenwood. We had a little hemp shop on the side from our development and processing, and being in Glenwood, we got to a lot of tourists all over the country to help spread the hemp word, and had everything from the Bronner soap and Sundog way before they became part of Bronner's, and hemp foods and fashion, and original green jeans that actually dyed your legs green. So, it's come a long way over the years. Today, Enviro Textiles is the leading in development on textiles. So we do fibers, composites, yarns, fabrics. I brought a couple examples over here at the table. You can see there's a hemp skateboard down there by the far leg. That's the Colorado company Myers Schemes out of Carbondale that's doing hemp composite with pine beetle keel wood. So really awesome Colorado product. We've also teamed up with the Colorado Alpaca Co-op. We now have a mini mill on the western slope that we are spinning and blending hemp and alpaca yarns. They're amazing, incredible. The alpaca is, of course, yet another natural plant fiber that we really want to educate people on true natural plant fibers, as well as animal fibers and what's the most sustainable materials to use in our environments. Super exciting. We got people pretty conscious about what they're putting in their body. So now it's time to really get more into what we're putting on our body, around us, and our environments. It's all attributed. Wonderful documentary came out recently, Toxic Hot Seat. I encourage everybody to watch it. It really enlightens you to what's around us. And the fact that firefighters are dying from being exposed when they're going into inflamed homes to all the junk in our homes. So it's really starting to kind of give a new light. So in Glenwood Springs, that is our global headquarters. We stock over 100 various hemp fabrics, some of which I'm wearing today, hemp every day. And actually this was hand loomed in Utah. So you can see amazing artisan wares to casual up to wedding gowns. Our hemp silk helped kick off high fashion. We've been able to have top designers all over the world show up that there is no limits in fashion passion or punctuality to go green or go hemp anymore.